Okay.
Oh, I didn't see if this one had a tag when he jumped. Also, I need to be careful with my line. Ah! Frick!
Yep. And you know what other line we need to be careful with?
Your mom?
And
We are not live. This is a lie.
yep,
Yay! I caught it. Now I need to replace my fishing line.
this is our Jagkast game of the year for
Oh,
2016.
dude, this thing's huge, and it's still smaller than my record one. Yeah, I know we're live. I don't care. I'm happy. I'm fishing.
Yep.
I mean, I don't do other things while we're on this.
Out
My
of con-
attention is devoted solely to the mostly black Google Hangouts screen and nothing else.
I mean, my attention usually is. I usually can't think very well if I'm not staring at it, but I'm going to give this a try. I'm not
See,
saying anything.
I do better thinking things through if I am slightly distracting myself in other ways. That's why I usually have like logic puzzles or something up on my computer, even like when I'm in class.
Yep. I just like out of context, just before people knew what you were fishing. It's really good. And I also got distracted by Twitter because Kotaku is kind of just the worst, and I'm closing it now.
What's new?
I'm honestly not sure if I dislike Kotaku or IGN more.
Oh,
I mean, I hate and have almost no respect for either of them, but I really don't know which is worse. They're both just so trashy and tabloidy, but somehow super popular. I don't get it.
IGN used to be good.
Yeah,
boy.
maybe like 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's when I first started reading them. And then
Yeah, IGN was good for like, I don't know, a year after they came out.
Yeah, Kotaku used to be good. Well, way back whenever it was I forgot who the not publisher editor was, but he used to do like a lot of like in-depth stuff about Japan, Japanese culture.
Yeah, it used to be pretty interesting. Then they, like I said, they just became trashy tabloid crap. Kotaku is where terrible and stupid gaming rumors and such go to die, and their opinion pieces are always just okay, not always, but several of the people they have working there are just inflammatory for no good reason all the time. It's just incredibly frustrating to me.
Yep, like there was an article someone just linked on Twitter about how Kotaku is saying, "Oh, well, I'm not telling you who to vote for in Fire Emblem Heroes, but you should vote for Chrom and Lucina." And I'm just like,
They're pretty much guaranteed to get in already. Why would you vote for them? Vote for someone more. I mean, they have gameplay shown. They're gonna be in. Vote for somebody else who's less likely without fan support.
but he's saying don't vote for Ike because Ike is boring.
Dude, no, Ike is awesome. Screw you. Ike is one of my favorite characters in Fire Emblem. He's really cool, and he has a great backstory.
Yep.
Like, I mean, the whole path of Radiance is you getting to see him become a man, essentially, after his father's untimely death and trying to fill in his father's shoes and lead the Grail mercenaries. It's awesome.
Yep.
And then by the time of Radiant Dawn, Ike has like fully become an awesome badass mercenary leader who's making huge differences in the world. It's great. Ike has an awesome character arc, and he's a really compelling character. I love it.
Let me tell you.
Also, he's awesome in Smash Bros.
Let me tell you guys about Hector.
Hector's really cool too. I like Hector a lot. I liked Hector more than Ellawood, honestly. Ellawood was too Boy Scouty. Hector was fairly like reasonable.
Yeah, I didn't like Ellawood either.
Like Ellawood, I didn't dislike Ellawood. I just thought he wasn't as interesting as he could have been because he was just too much of a goody-goody Boy Scout for my taste.
Yeah.
Hector was willing to do things that were a little more morally gray because he thought it was the right thing to do, and you needed to friggin' take out these horrible evil people doing all of the terrible things.
And he was also unkillable.
Yeah, Hector's a frickin' wall of death. I love it.
Yep. God. I should have been voting for loot too, but I'm voting for too many characters from shit. I don't remember what game that is.
There's a baby chocobo.
Anyways,
So fat.
Yay!
this is our Game of the Year podcast. We're just sitting here talking about how much Kotaku and IGN suck in Fire Emblem.
Yeah, and me fishing and catching baby chocobos. Bet no one can guess what I'm doing. It's the Moogle Chocobo Carnival in Final Fantasy 15.
God, I'm still waiting for the announcement that Lightning is going to be a playable character in DLC.
No. Just no.
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you.
It's not.
She is too popular in Japan. Japan loves her so much.
Okay, yeah, but Japan has bought 1 million copies of the game, like, just recently. Like, console gaming in general in Japan is down so much that they really don't dictate the entire market anymore.
But what if they could sell 2 million by adding Lightning?
Oh god, that's not unreasonable to expect, actually.
Yep. No, I've been wanting to pick it up. I'm just waiting to see like what kind of characters they introduce and things like that. And also, I have not had any.
Most of the character DLC is going to be like episodes about the other party members where you play as them and it centers around them. So like episode Ignis, episode Gladiolus, episode Prompto, that's what those are mainly going to be about.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking like I don't have any free time for the next 6 months. I lost my pen. No, I didn't. That was a lie. I have a planner, and I just have, like, every week 2 or 3 games that I have to buy.
Yeah, I'm cutting down a lot on on the amounts of games that I'm going to be buying in the near future, because I'm going to have to, be an adult soon.
Now, why would you go and do that?
Why'd you do that to yourself?
I don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Finishing the Masters and all that is pretty much what I gotta do.
Yep, I've actually been trying to cut down on my game buying too, because I'm trying to save up for the Switch.
The Moogle quiz? I can do that.
Okay. So, while
I am 100% engaged with this podcast. Please do not doubt that.
So while you do that, I guess we could get into what we've been doing this week. Or do we even want to go over that and just go straight to our Game of the Year?
Yeah, I mean, I think our what we have been doing is a tried and true tradition that we should stick with.
Fair. I have updated what I've been doing this week. Well, you guys are a little bit distracted, so I'll start off just to let you guys get your bearing. Or that's not the word.
I have no problem starting. I'm at the top of the thing anyway, which I still don't get why I'm at the top of the thing, but
it's just it's an old podcast trick that I learned from other people. It's that you always since I was the one who had originally started the podcast, you always put yourself at the bottom and you let your guests go first. That way your guests don't feel pressured and it's like you're giving them the spotlight. And since you were the guest and now it's just like, okay, well now you're a mainstay, but I'm just going to keep you at the top anyway. So
okay, fair enough. Yeah, so I have still been sorting out medical stuff. With regard to that, I would like to say for anyone who listens, it's unlikely that I'll be doing any more Let's Play stuff, at least not in the near future. It's really too hard for me right now. I wouldn't be able to handle it without going insane because of the way that things are with my ears. Even just doing the podcast is a bit more difficult than I would like it to be. Well, realistically, I'd like it not to be difficult at all, but that's obvious. And that is part of why I'm playing something else, is just to sort of distract me a little bit. So hopefully I'll either get used to it at some point or find a way to fix it or something. Who knows? Until then, just don't really expect any Let's Play stuff from me. So, if you really want more LPs on the channel, nag after those two. Other than that, I finally finished watching Death Note, which that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. It kind of got slowly more, just the characters at least, got slowly more upsetting the further in you get, like especially the way they're drawn and such, which I thought was kind of funny. There is a difference in how it ends, a slight one between the manga and the anime, which for anyone who wants to watch it and hasn't yet, I won't spoil. But I do suggest checking both endings out. From what I understand, up until that point, they're basically identical. I personally thought the manga ending fit a lot better, but I mean, they were both pretty good. Classes are going again. I'm not quite devoting as much attention to those as I should be, or at least, well, I haven't the last few days. I've been starting to now, which is good. I should have done that sooner. So that's a constant thing. I'm finally at a point where I can get into Final Fantasy 15, as has already been mentioned. So that's exciting. And I've been playing Mario and Luigi Paper Jam on 3DS, and it's a lot of fun. There are quite a few things about it that I find quite frustrating, though. Like just little bits here and there where I think it's kind of unnecessarily punishing, or perhaps even dips a bit into the unfair side, which is especially, well, unexpected in my view for it being a Mario and Luigi game / a Paper Mario game. But like just some of the fights and some of the way that they've done specific things, it just kind of has me scratching my head. Like it's a really good game, but I feel like just some questionable decisions here and there are holding it back from being significantly better than it is. That's about it for me.
Okay.
Baby Chocobo.
Baby Chocobo?
Got it. Sorry.
So, Grim.
Give me a second. No, I'm kidding.
I feel like I wasn't kidding though.
Sorry, I was fighting a boss that entire time. So yeah, I've pretty much I haven't really been doing much that week this week, to be honest with you. Mostly spending my time playing. What was I playing on the PS4? Oh yeah, I bought Kingdom Hearts 2.8 for me and my friend to play through.
Please say the full name, because it's so stupid.
Oh, do you mean Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue?
Yes, dear God.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I hate the names for Kingdom Hearts games. Like I kid you not. I played a guessing game one day where I told my friend about how ridiculous the names of Kingdom Hearts games are, and he was like, "Oh, it can't be that bad." And I said, "Okay, I'll make some up and I'll read some from the list, and you tell me which ones you think are fake." I never made any up. I only read from the list of names, and he thought a good half of them were fake.
That's sad.
I mean, seriously, they're just so, like, 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, 3D Dream Drop Distance, 358 over 2 days, RE Chain of Memories, like, Trinity Masterpieces. Like, what the hell? I don't understand. Sorry. I'll shut up.
All right. Let the hate flow through you. Aside from that,
It's not hate. It's just confusion.
No, you hate it, really. No, anyway. The other thing I've been playing, for the most part, has just been on and off with Isaac Afterbirth Plus. That took me a lot longer to think about than I thought than should have. This is what happens when I play games to try to talk. But yeah, like between those two and maybe oh yeah, I was playing a little bit Diablo this week as well, wasn't I? Yeah, I've been setting up a speed farming build with a witch doctor using Angry Chicken Hex, where you run forward very quickly as a chicken and explode at people. It's funny. and hilariously it works. Except I don't think it's one of the better ones at the moment. But fuck it, I'm doing it anyway because I'm running around as a chicken blowing up at people. But yeah, so that's like Manajama's carving knife with other Manajama's fetish, along with like I think it's Helltooths and a couple of other things, and it's very effective. Other than that, I am now playing Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition for those that are wondering, because I haven't actually mentioned what I've been playing. Yeah. I'm playing right now, and that's about it, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not very interesting when it comes to this stuff, but
No, you're fine.
I'm not fine.
Okay.
He's anything but fine.
Well, just to lighten the mood, I'm on Twitter again, as I do. And there's a
I wonder what you're looking at.
Top 10 overpowered anime characters, and it's just a character from a manga that says, I can grow dicks anywhere I want. So...
So,
is that not a hentai?
I don't know.
I mean, it could be a One Piece doujin based off of a male character getting Robin's devil fruit.
Ah.
Well, that's enough for
I
the
doubt
podcast.
that's what it is, but that's feasible.
Oh,
okay.
That's enough podcast for the week. So,
no, you must tell us what you've been playing.
That's a very good question. I'm looking up when we last did the podcast. I'm like, how many weeks ago was that?
It was like the beginning of last week.
Holy shit! What is time? It felt like 3 years ago.
An arrow?
No, it's a circle. Gosh.
Yeah. Okay, Murph. No, I'm a physicist. Time is an arrow.
Yep.
That is mainly all that it is, too.
Oh.
I heard a PS4
by any chance.
No. That's actually my space heater, but now that you guys pointed it out, I can't unhear it.
What?
It's cold here in Texas for today.
Oh. Wait, what's cold in Texas?
What's
cold in Texas?
Below 60.
I don't like. I'm currently sitting at -1 degree Celsius. So, do tell.
Yeah.
That's not very cool to other places, but heck, over here it's decent.
Well, we have very high tolerance for heat. Like, it could be like 110 or 120, and we'd be fine over here. But if you drop below 60...
That is hell.
I mean, that's just when you turn the air conditioner on to medium instead of low.
Yeah. No.
I mean, the heat is just trying to kill us all. It's trying to purge America, and it's failing.
No, Trump's trying to do that.
Yep.
That's hitting a little too close to home.
I said nothing.
Oh shit. Okay, so did I talk about Fate Extella last week?
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Okay.
You mentioned it a little bit to me outside of the podcast, I know. I don't think you talked about it on here, though.
Yeah, well, I started playing that. I kind of fell off of it because I really love Muso games. This is just so bare bones. Like, okay, I've played a lot of really bad Muso games. Like the Neptunia Muso games. I love Neptunia, but if it wasn't for the characters, I'd be like, okay, this game is fucking garbage. Fate Extella has really good story modes. It's got a lot of interesting content for fans of the series, but as someone who's coming into it completely like outside of that, I'm just like, okay, it's the same map, the same objective, and you just keep repeating it over and over and over. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, capture these 5 areas. Okay, you captured them. That's it. Next mission. All right, now recapture these same 5 areas. I'm just like, okay. So, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's what Dynasty Warriors is, Jim." And I'm like, no, it's really not. That's like when people tell me Dynasty Warriors games are button mashers, and I look at them.
Some of the older ones really were.
Yeah, but like nowadays, like especially like Hyrule Warriors, that is my go-to. Like that's the gold.
Oh yeah, Hyrule Warriors is friggin' top tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm comparing everything against that now because it has set the bar. And it's just, man, in comparison, all these other games are falling short. So I fell off of it. I have one more story arc to do to complete the story mode for the game. And I can't do it. I started playing Atelier Chalet too. It's good. Cute girls doing cute things, the game.
Sounds
How about
par
you
for
dream
the
it?
course.
Yep. So what's weird is, okay, so the game has always been very slice of life about you're an alchemist, you're running your alchemy shop, and like the most the world's ever been in the first trilogy was, oh no, there's this monster living in a volcano. You need to make a gigantic ice bomb and go freeze the volcano so that the monster will be defeated and the volcano won't blow up on this village you just built. In the Dusk trilogy, which is the trilogy right after it, it's like, okay, the entire world is dying and you have to figure out why.
That's a bit of an escalation there.
Yeah, and like it's really good though. Like the lore is really good because you keep finding all of these relics of the past, and it's like, okay, like these dudes before us, like they were basically like hyper advanced. They built like machines that were preparing to preserve the world just in case this happened, in case like everyone had like nuclear war and wipe each other out. They had these like seeds to preserve all human life, all plant life, and all human history. And it's just like, holy shit. Okay. But yeah, it was just a stark tonal difference going from like, oh no, our alchemy shop is going to go out of business. We have to get really good at alchemy and sell items and build a customer base. That way we can keep the alchemy shop open. To, yeah, the world's ending. Everybody's dying. And everything is falling apart. And, you have to figure out why. And then you play Atelier Sophie, and it's just more of cute girls doing cute things, which is like, oh, I'm running my alchemy shop. I actually don't remember the story arc for. Okay, yeah, now I do. The worst thing that happens in Atelier Sophie is there eventually is a big bad final boss dude, but even that isn't that bad. It's just more so someone who's misguided. And it's almost like a sympathetic villain. So,
I like those.
yeah. Really good series. Sophie's coming to PC. You can pre-order it now on Steam, which I might do soon. Just because I'm a tool.
Wow, what a sellout. Unsubscribed.
Yeah, pretty much right. If you didn't think I was going to sit here and chill Moe games, then came to the wrong podcast.
Yeah, that's not a thing that has ever happened on this before.
Oh no, absolutely not.
So let me tell you guys about Cyber Dimension Online. No, I really can't remember what I've done though. Like this whole past week, for very obvious reasons, has been incredibly distressful. So I just like time feels like it has slowed to a snail's pace.
I mean, that's what happens when you come down off of literal week straight of crack.
Yeah. You know, it seemed like the whole year had gone by, but turned out it's just been 2 days. I'm like, well, holy shit. Now what do I do? God, I'm a mess right now. Haven't been sleeping good. Again, obvious reasons, as I'm sure any of our listener base will be well aware of.
Yeah,
American,
all of the crack.
There's just too much crack around here. God damn. You need to do something with all of it.
Yeah, I tried, and just
The man has his limits.
yep.
Oh, these listeners keep sending in crack. It's too much, guys.
Yeah.
You need to calm it.
Seriously, like we appreciate it and all, but how did you even get his address in the first place? I don't know, just a little weird.
Well, that might be my fault, One of those AdWord pop-ups appeared that had the cute girl in the side picture.
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
Yeah,
it's so predictable. God damn it.
What am I going to do? Not give her my credit card?
Yep, yeah. That would be a good
I
idea.
just had to take a picture in Final Fantasy of a literal fat neckbeard dude in order to get medallions for this carnival. What is life? Like, he's just a huge fat dude sweating in the corner next to a pinball machine, and I had to take a picture of him. And he has exclusively a neckbeard.
How did you find me?
And a nasty ponytail.
Man.
How did you find me in that game? God.
So.
Well, that just happened. These like angel stat armor dudes, right? They sometimes, like, if they have a leader, they get together and do a formation attack. And this time they got together and started charging this humongous energy ball. I ran in and then I sort of did a flip kick right into the middle of the energy ball and blew them all up. And they all died.
Yep. That's a thing that just happened.
Yep.
Is there a waiting for Godot joke in this? Are you kidding me? Nobody's gonna get that, but it makes me so happy.
I don't get it, but I'm happy that you're happy.
Waiting for Godot is a play, a relatively famous one that honestly most people that I have ever mentioned it to have never heard of. And I think they're making a Waiting for Godot joke with one of the quests in this Chocomog Carnival, and that is beautiful to me.
God.
That's excellent.
I actually recently fell down, was it the King in Yellow? Is that what it's called? I fell down that rabbit hole. And that's real interesting.
Yeah, lots of all that sort of eldritch horror nonsense is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I haven't read nearly as much of it as I should, but I will someday.
Yeah, like just the main plot twist of that whole thing that you'll mostly see reference for people who don't know what that is. It's that this King in Yellow is at a masquerade ball, and everyone's wearing masks as you do. And then they're like, okay. And they get offended at him because everyone took off their mask, but he's still wearing his. And he says, I'm not wearing a mask at all. And it's supposed to be this huge twist.
Yeah.
And everyone just kind of... And the play is supposed to be akin to the Necronomicon, and that if you read it, you go insane because...
Yeah, the King in Yellow is meant to be an outsider from the eldritch, horrific dimension stuff.
Yeah.
Not unlike Cthulhu or Dagon or Nyarlathotep and such.
Yep. It's really interesting. So
he's one of the more mundane ones, but he is still in that crowd.
Yep. And that was 2 weeks of me just diving deep into that.
Pretty cool.
This podcast is still going off the rails. Game of the Year 2016! Yeah!
Yay!
Gotta get pumped, excited. We have to have enthusiasm, enjoy our lives, however short they may be.
In 2016, I'm going to say fairly short.
Yeah. Enjoy what time we have left. This has to be whenever our, our descendants, millions of years in the future, they uncover this podcast. They need to know in 2016 what our favorite games were.
Well, I mean, they're still waiting on the 2015 games, so,
Well, they'll never know what 2015 games were.
Caviar and wood smoked fish.
All right, so who wants to start their Game of the Year list?
You're first on the thingy.
Okay. God, I think I'm going to go from the bottom of my list and ascend.
Oh, okay.
Well, just because it seems more dramatic that way, more climactic, even though everyone already knows what the top of my list is. So... Or no, actually, I'll just go from the top to the bottom because fuck it. Let's get the obvious out of the way. So, and I actually did order these just because I wanted to put stock in what I value in games. And so, of course, the very first game is Mega Dimension Neptunia V2.
Okay.
And, I don't know. It's a given. I love the Neptunia games. This is a particularly good one.
Mm-hmm.
Atelier Sophie, which was a series I didn't even get into until like last year. Actually, I played like 6 games in a month. God, yeah. Atelier Sophie was my first platinum that wasn't The Walking Dead.
That's a comical statement to make, actually.
Yeah, I don't ever platinum games, and like I gotta mention Neptunia, the platinum is just really absurd. Like Neplunker is just absurd. And so I was playing Sophie, and I was like having fun with it, and I'm like, okay, well, what does it take for me to get the platinum in this game? And it was really easy. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it because I'm enjoying this game. Senran Kagura Estival Versus is so fucking good. It's like one of the best Musos. Well, I guess it's more so a beat 'em up than a Muso. It basically means the same thing at this point. But Senran Kagura, it's a really good one of those. That's lewd girls doing lewd things. A game that not many people will know about is actually Valhalla, and that was my number 4 on this list, which is the waifu bartending game. And whenever it was first announced, you were a corgi and you were serving drinks to girls, but like in the actual game, you're a girl. And it's just really funny how like the whole gender thing is turned on its head. It's like everyone you meet is a woman. There are very few men. There is the equivalent of a 4chan board, Robot 9000, and they're talking about like, oh yeah, you're a guy, keep bragging, oh you're just doing that for attention, etc., etc. It's just really funny. It's got a really good sense of humor, really good writing. It's a very light visual novel, but it was definitely something that surprised me, and I wanted to give it a shout out because we need more just good quality games. Like, I don't know. If anyone's ever been on the fence about getting Valhalla, I think it was $10. Like, it is definitely worth it.
Yeah, I got it as part of the most recent Humble Bundle.
Yeah, it's
Haven't
So
played
did I.
it.
yeah, no, it's really good. Like,
Yeah, I'd been wanting to get it for a while. I'd heard really good things about it, and then I saw it was in the Humble Bundle. I was like, oh, okay, let's do that.
yeah, I did the same thing too. I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad we haven't done the game of the year yet because I actually want too much in this game now. The rest of my list is pretty much a given of the AAA games this year. Overwatch, which, I mean, of course, Overwatch is going to be in my top 10. Dark Souls 3.
Oh yeah, Overwatch was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I should put that on my list then.
Yep.
Oops.
I mean, Overwatch is pretty much like Blizzard has struck gold again. It's the forever game. Like, I play it on and off, especially with all the events they have. Like, even recently, it's just like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to play more Overwatch. Dark Souls 3, really fucking good game. Even though it stressed me out and drove me crazy because it was just peak difficulty. Dishonored 2, again, like, God. I feel like I'm just going to keep saying, yeah, well, you should know why all these games are on here. Because they're fucking good. Like, everybody should know that what I think is law. That's what it feels like right now as I'm reading off these names. No, Dishonored 2 surprised me with just how good it was. Like, I think I replayed it 5 or 6 times. Just New Game Plus every time. Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which is kind of depressing how few people actually played it.
Yeah, I
think-
heard it was awesome. Like, kind of improved on Human Revolution every way, is what I heard.
Pretty much.
Yep. Like,
It had really bad performance issues when it first came out, though, didn't it? Isn't that what made a lot of people angry?
Yeah.
on PC it did. On PS4, I think it was fine.
I
didn't hear good
swear
things
there
about
was an
PS4,
issue
I
on
remember.
PS4 as well.
Yeah. I remember something.
I think it was a save, like it was like a save corruption or something on PS4. I think.
Oh, that's really bad. Okay, well, that would explain it. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider came out on PC early last year. And I'm in the minority, apparently, but I still think those are really good games.
I watched my roommate play it on his Xbox One in fall of 2015 and thought it looked pretty good. As someone who previously had tried and wasn't really interested in some of the older Tomb Raider games, I thought that one actually looked pretty cool.
Yeah, the reboot games are really good, actually. Like, it's a good mix of like Metroidvania elements with the like exploration and shooting. Like, all of it just really good. But people are like, well, it's not like the old Tomb Raider, so I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, motherfuckers, I played the old Tomb Raider. Those games are fucking crazy. I'm glad this new Tomb Raider is a bit more grounded.
Yeah, I tried at a few different points to get into some of the older Tomb Raider games. Even I remember people saying Tomb Raider 3 was amazing, and I just it never grabbed me.
Yep. In Tomb Raider 1, you walk into a cave, and there's a fucking T-Rex hiding behind a volcano in an ancient underground village.
That
So-
is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And that's just the first like area.
I remember people making a big deal about the bear in the very first Tomb Raider. Like, apparently there was a part where you have to fight a bear in a relatively enclosed space, and it was really hard or something.
Yeah, that's what you use the shotgun for, though. But yeah, it's really good. Like, more people should check out that game.
Why do you guys always show up as anonymous on the Google Doc? Like, right now, Anonymous Chameleon is clicking all over the place. Like, what the heck, Google? I know both of these people. Why is it? I don't understand.
That's really funny. I only see one anonymous. It's Anonymous Axolotl. I don't know how you pronounce
Axolotl.
that. Axolotl. Yeah. That's the only anonymous I see. Unless I'm the anonymous, whatever the hell, clicking everywhere.
Maybe you should get more anonymous people then.
We're just going to invite our listeners to view our agenda.
Oh, yeah, well, don't you post it up anyway, usually?
No, I used to, but not anymore.
Gotcha.
I have all of the data for most of the stuff, and it's just like, does anyone actually care? And as it turns out, no one does. Like, well, that's a good thing about like how data driven Google is, like with the blog and with YouTube and like with everything. I can see exactly where people are like getting into the stuff. It's like, okay, where do they stop listening to the podcast? Where do
15 seconds, a new record.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but people usually listen for at least like the first half of the podcast, which is pretty good. That's why I put all of my crap, like the Moe crap, towards the very back of the podcast. That way, only people who are actually interested in that will listen all the way through.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it gives them incentives to watch till the end because everyone totally wants to hear about that.
Yep. I don't know. Okay. I see. Oh, that's okay. Someone go next. I just saw a very disturbing image on Twitter.
Oh, disturbing, eh?
Yeah.
Alright, well, Grim, it should be your turn next, just based on where we are on the agenda.
Yeah, and there's a lot of random stuff on here that I didn't write any of it.
That is wholly untrue. You were telling me the whole time how excited you were to put each and every one of the games that is on there where it is.
Oh yeah, I totally love Five Nights at Freddy's 6th Location and Mighty Number 9. I love them so much.
It came as a surprise to me, but as long as you enjoy it, that's what's really important.
Yeah, well, I saw this list too. I didn't realize the joke at first, and I was very confused.
Yeah, Star Fox Guard, Mighty Number 9, No Man's Sky, Metroid Prime Federation Force, 2 Five Nights at Freddy's games, and Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge. How did you not get the joke?
I was like, man, I did not know Grim was really into Five Nights at Freddy's. I was just like, man, okay, I guess I could see Star Fox Guard. I heard that was pretty good. Like,
well, Star Fox Guard is the tower defense extra game that came with Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess I could see that. I'm like, all right, Metroid. Grim likes Metroid, I guess. I mean,
It's not even really Metroid though.
Yeah, because I'm so good with my handheld games.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm really up for that.
I don't judge, okay? Well, I did a little bit, but I was like, and then it took me a second, and I was sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Right, for those who are maybe wondering, the joke list that Cooper over here wrote up was Final Fantasy Freddy's World, Star Fox Guard, Mini Mario, and Friends Amiibo Challenge. Mighty Number 9, No Man's Sky, Metroid Prime Federation Force, and Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location. Because I love all of those games so very much. Now for the real one. Right, so I have not ordered these in any way, shape, or form. Maybe I'll do in reverse. Maybe I won't, because nobody else can see it, only me. Because I didn't write these on the Google Docs, and I have them in a notepad file.
Yep, that's what I did too. Then I just copied it over.
Did I overheat?
So I only have 9 games, so I don't exactly have a top 10 list, per se, but well. First one up is World of Warcraft Legion. Now, this one is a bit of a weird one because it's actually an expansion, not a full game, but the amount of content within the expansion probably contributes to that much of a full game, and the amount of time you're going to get out of this is probably a lot more than a regular game, so that's if you're actually into this. Both me and my friend agree this is probably one of the best expansions that Blizzard has ever really put out for World of Warcraft. Not really going over the case of the old games, the old expansions, but then again, a lot of nostalgia tends to fill those, and a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people seem to still stick to that even after going back to the old servers. I don't think I'd be able to go back to the old version of the game, considering a lot of it was very, very, very grindy for no real reason. And especially a lot of the quests. But in the case of this game, they've gone over a lot of the problems that they had during Warlords of Draenor, and they've basically made a ton of it better. Like, for instance, the garrison is now replaced with an order hall. The old garrison was essentially just you in a little confined space where you could like build up your garrison, upgrade your garrison places. To do that, you had to go out within the world, collect garrison resource, and a bunch of other stuff, and then come back, build buildings. Each building would have its own like unique benefit, etc. But that place would have absolutely nobody else in it. It would just be you, a bunch of NPCs, and maybe like if you played like way later on in the level 3 garrison, you get like this little record player, which you could go out and fight old bosses and old dungeons and raids and get some music from that specific expansion or whatever to play around your little base. But they've changed that now with order halls when it's basically everybody who uses your class has access to this hall. Now, it won't just be like you could already bring your friends in if your friends were the same class as you, but it still alleviates the problem of it's just me in this place standing here bored. I mean, you don't spend very long in it, and you're already ready to go back to. There's not really anything to upgrade aside. Well, there is actually quite a few things to upgrade in there, but you'll really just be only coming in to upgrade your weapon and to do stuff on the like order mission map. And yeah, it just got over a lot of the problems that the Warlords had and made stuff a lot better. And with the game, with the expansion came a lot of stuff involving the actual classes and streamlining them a lot so that they're a little bit less complex and easier to get into. So I consider that a plus. I know a lot of people probably don't, but
yeah.
Anyway, next on the list is Fury. Now, this one was it gave me a bit of rage at times, but it was still a fantastic game. It's got a very unique soundtrack. Well, not unique, but it's got a pretty good soundtrack with utilizing a lot of like retro synth-esque music. I don't know music genres. Don't get it, me. From various different artists. It utilizes a lot of songs from various different artists. However, the game's style is just generally a boss rush, essentially. With each and every boss you kill gets a little bit of backstory beforehand, except for the first boss, I think, where you're just sort of thrust into it. You're given the idea that the jailers are the key, kill them, you'll be free, and so as you go down, you get closer to the planet, which appears various different times. and you kind of get the idea to your character called the Rider's purpose. Each character is actually called, each boss is called by a name which begins with the. So you got the Edge, the Star, there's a lot of them. But yeah, the gameplay is quite fun. You got like two different states you can be in. You can be at range state where you're kind of like running around, teleport dodging, projectiles, and all sorts of stuff. That's usually the case that you'll end up with in the kind of bullet hell segments. But you also got the close range combat with like close range slashes, parries, etc. that you can kind of take on. The only way to really gain health back is through parries. And yeah, but it is pretty fun. Next up, we've got Salt and Sanctuary, which is the 2D Souls-like, I'll call it, style game made by the husband and wife team.
Yeah.
Of I don't remember their name.
Greg and Steve.
Yes, husband and wife. Yes, but yeah, it's just really fun. I don't really have a huge amount to say. It's very Metroidvania-esque, just without the whole Metroidvania thing of taking the items, sort of running around, exploring the areas, and finding more weapons and upgrades as you go along. And the bosses are in fact very Souls-esque, with predictable patterns, and as you get killed, I guess, you also end up going back to the shrines and mini shrines, I guess, that'll be scattered around the maps. And you also use salt as a universal currency. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2.
Oh,
now,
yeah. Wow, how did I forget about that too?
Now, the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse had a few problems, which were all alleviated pretty much in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which now also includes a kind of like a free-roaming like hub area instead of while the other one was kind of free-roaming, you just walked along the floor very slowly. Now you've got like ability to fly, the ability to use vehicles, and because the area is a lot more expansive, you can sort of like fly around and see other people doing stuff in the world if you're in the multiplayer lobby. Other than that, there's not a huge deal to say. Well, aside from the story being the original one was very. The original game was very just like, let's follow the timeline, like solve the problems that pop up, and then oh no, this big guy, big bad appeared, let's kill him. This one is very much so. Well, like bad shit's going down, but the timeline's actually getting altered in various different ways, and you kind of have to take part in the alterations instead of preventing them. And you still do kind of like prevent them, but stuff still happens, and the timeline still gets altered in a way. And then supposedly the Kai of Time gets together and solves it later on, I guess. The other thing is another kind of like downside, I guess, is that the ending involves too much Goku.
Yeah, when it should involve exactly none.
Yeah, I mean, they had ample space to stick in the creative character, but they didn't. And yes, the creative character does gain more of a story presence this time around. So, if you liked your character from the other game, then just port them over and you'll appear a couple of times and then do nothing much else.
Yeah.
Well, next up on the list, we have the obvious Overwatch spot, because yes.
Yep.
Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I don't really need to say much more on that. Doom, which, oh boy, where do you even begin with Doom? Mostly just a single player because rip and fucking tear, and that's about it. And then we have Dark Souls 3, which, being the final game of the Souls series, is no very surprise it's there. I have also played the DLC, which involved a unique boss of the series, I guess. I don't think there's any boss that really does the thing that this boss. Well, I mean, the gimmick is not the same as this boss, is kind of what I'm trying to say. But other than that, the DLC is. I enjoyed the DLC's area and exploration, but I guess the DLC itself is a bit on the short-ish side. While the area is larger than most of the areas in the game, and actually counts as that if you PvP over there. You can actually explore the majority of the area in PvP as a Phantom. and it is extremely expansive. But other than that, it's fairly short, and the other boss is a bit of a joke, which is so sad. But overall, I honestly think it deserves a high spot on my list. And then spot 0, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3? Because it did in fact come out last year, and I'm allowed to do this, so there we go.
Fair enough.
It wasn't meant to be a serious spot, but yeah, like, I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, so first off, I'm gonna unless there was anything else you wanted to say for yours.
No, like, that's about it. Like, I didn't give much of an explanation to the top 4, but I don't think they honestly needed much.
Yeah. I'm gonna preface mine a little bit by saying mine are not in any sort of numerical order, and having remembered a couple of things while the other two were going, I did in fact need to add some stuff. Mine are just in release order because I had a hard time remembering what came out last year, as should be obvious by me going, "Oh yeah," like 4 times. And there are a lot of games that came out that I know are good, and several of them I own, and I just haven't had the chance to play yet. And several of the games on this list I've played quite a bit, but I haven't gotten to play as much as I want to, haven't gotten to finish them, etc. So really, I couldn't build any sort of reasonable numerical, like, this one's better than this one list, because it was just a bit too hectic of a year for me, especially near the tail end. And I just didn't get to spend as much time on games as I wanted, and I wouldn't really be able to make a reasonable metric. So
Can I stop?
Yeah.
Can I just say something very quickly, because I completely blanked out and missed one of them. I skipped over because I think I was talking about Dragon Ball Xenoverse, and then I just sort of flipped it. Digimon Story Cyber Super is on the list as well.
Oh, thank you. Good.
There we go. There we go.
That's actually the first one I'll be mentioning, because it's the first one that came out last year.
Might as well start last blue to mine as well. Sorry. I'll let you explain those two, because I think we share the same sentiments.
Yeah. But so that's the long and short of it, is several of these games that I have on here and ones that I left off, I just haven't had the time to really play them, and I know they're good. And the list would look very different numerically if I were to put just things I've played so far compared to all of the things that came out after I have played them. So I'm not going to do any numbers. These were all great games, and I recommend all of them. And these are ones I've played at least a bit. So again, starting release order, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Came out last February. Holy crap, that was awesome. It's I've been a fan of Digimon since I was a little kid, and I dropped off of it for quite a while because there just hasn't really been any significant presence of the franchise in games or TV show or what have you in the West for a long time. And then just kind of out of nowhere, Cyber Sleuth came out, and it's awesome. It's basically Shin Megami Tensei with Digimon instead of demons. I loved it. The translation was kind of shoddy, that I have to admit. Like, it was passable, but it really was not good. But just there were so many awesome Digimon. Having free reign of the Digi-Evolution tree was great. Being able to take your monster, theoretically, from any potential evolution to any other evolution that is in the game, if you do it right, is awesome. And then the fact that they carry over moves that they learn, so you can have one of them spend some time as, say, a War Greymon, because there are moves you really want him to learn, and then you take him down a bit, go up another branch into Guilemon, and then finally evolve him into Gallantmon, which I think they called it Dukemon in the game. I don't remember.
Yeah.
They had some weird translations for Digimon names and for just general dialogue. but like, and then that move, that as long as it wasn't a move that is like one of the unique moves that is just attached to that War Greymon, he'll have kept the move, that attack, all the way up through you evolving him into Gallantmon. Like, it's so cool. And then despite it being a little niche game, they continued to support it with updates that added new Digimon, including like blast modes and burst modes of some of the really cooler ones, like Shine Greymon burst mode is so freaking cool, for example. Yeah, just overall really fun RPG, really great service to fans of the Digimon series, just incredibly fun. And Digimon World First Order or New Order or whatever it's called comes out in like a week, and I'm not going to be getting it immediately because I need to not buy things compulsively this year. But I will get it at some point this year, I guarantee that. And I am probably going to love it because I loved the old Digimon World games a ton. Let's see. Next that came out was XCOM 2. I don't really feel like there's a lot I need to say for anyone who has played XCOM, like the first, well, okay, not the first. XCOM Enemy Unknown / Enemy Within were like the reboots of the XCOM franchise within the last several years, and they were great. And XCOM 2 was also great. Just really, really solid tactical RPG with very deep customization, tons of options. I liked that this one added a sense of urgency with some of the timers that it had going on. Those could have been executed better, but I still really enjoyed the idea. Because to be frank, the first XCOM Enemy Unknown was kind of easy, and like the best strategy was honestly just to wait for a long time and not progress the main story all that far until you get better gear, and then you just roll over everything. And Enemy Within, while it was a straight upgrade, kind of made that worse by allowing you to have mech troopers and like augmented troopers that were just even more powerful. So giving you a time limit and making you have decisions and travel time to accomplish things was a good call in general. Again, execution could have been done a little bit better. I've heard that the Long War 2, which only just came out like last week, fixes a lot of that stuff and makes it closer to how it should be. I've got that installed. I haven't gotten around to playing it yet, but overall, XCOM 2 really solid. Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasma Extend. That's the one on this list that I have played the least of, unfortunately, but I love the series. I know this entry is solid, even just from what I've played of it, and I've played some on my own and with Grim. Actually, just earlier today, even we played some, and like it was at Evo for also, and just a really great, really solid entry in the series.
I will mention it is Guilty Gear and BlazBlue are going to be at Evo this year.
Good.
Guaranteed.
As they should be. Like Guilty Gear last year was pretty much the most hype event of the whole tournament, and I hate using the word hype, but it absolutely fit because that final was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyone who hasn't seen last year's Guilty Gear Evo final, go on YouTube and watch it because that was great.
Oh, also go and have a look at the one, like I think it's a year or two before that, with the Galileo versus what's he called, the Azil player.
That one I'm not as familiar with. Anyway, Blaze Blue is one of my favorite series, easily my favorite fighting game series. I love them. I am going to devote the amount of time that the game deserves relatively soon, and I look forward to that greatly. As a side note, Central Fiction came out last year as well in the fall, but that has no English dub yet, and even the English voice actors did not know that they weren't going to get the chance to dub it until it was announced that it was coming undubbed to the West. There's been a lot of uproar. There was actually a really successful petition that I believe was started by Ragna's voice actor.
It was, yes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of push. The company has said, okay, we hear you. We get that you're upset. We're sorry. So hopefully there will be an extend version or at least a DLC pack to add in the English voices, something like that. If they hadn't done that, I might have put it on the list, but until they add the English stuff in, yeah, I'm not getting it. It's a series that has had English dub since the beginning. They're not only snubbing fans, they're snubbing the voice actors as well, because those people, you can hear them talk about it in interviews and stuff. They love the roles, they love the characters. So until they add in the English dub, I am not going to support that game, as sad as it makes me.
I believe there was a message back from, there was like an email a little while back set up from the, what's it called? The petition that basically said, don't, like there's the email. It's become clear enough to me that neither Oxys or Oxys or Oxys, Axes and Oxys care to acknowledge this petition or the possibility of a dub, and we've done everything in our power to persuade them otherwise. So rather than draw us out further, I'm conceding my efforts. I appreciate everyone who offered their support, especially the dub VAs themselves. You'll always have the past games to reflect on, and it goes on and on and on.
Really? Because I know after the petition started gaining ground, like, representatives of the company even came out and said, like, we're sorry and we see that there's a big demand for this. So it sounded like they were actually going to listen. That's extremely frustrating. Okay, well, screw that.
Damn.
Anyway, moving on. Hyper Light Drifter, really, really good game. Kind of like a top-down Zelda mixed with Dark Souls a little bit. I kickstarted it way back when, was really happy to see it come out, and it's awesome. Absolutely beautiful pixel art, very interesting and intriguing world. There's not a line of dialogue in the entire game, written or spoken. Everything is told visually through the environment and, like, talking to NPCs. You basically just get, like, images of things that have happened to them. So it very much leaves a lot open to your imagination while still giving you a lot of information to fill in the gaps. Really awesome controls, super fun to play, fantastic game. Dark Souls 3, already been talked about. It's the last Dark Souls game. They went all out, super fun, end of story. Bravely Second, oh my god. Absolutely, yes. If I had to do numerical stuff for this list, Bravely Second probably would be top 3. It's just so good. Like, Bravely Default was my favorite game in the previous several years when it first came out, because it was everything that made the old Square RPGs great. It was solid, entertaining, likable characters, really good turn-based gameplay, an awesome class system, a really interesting story. It had friggin' everything, and Bravely Second really just kind of stepped that up. They brought back 2 of the main characters from the previous game as party members, and they did it in interesting and fun ways. The other 2 were relevant to the story at several points. The new characters were really, really good. The storyline was a lot of fun. The new classes were great. Just overall, it was everything that made Bravely Default great, they nailed again in Bravely Second. And I believe Bravely Sword is what the third game is confirmed to be called, and I can't wait for that. Like, I hope that this series has a very long and prosperous future, because it's basically giving us old school Final Fantasy games in now. And that's all you have to do to make me happy.
Yeah.
Overwatch, self-explanatory, really fun game, really solidly made. Yeah, everybody has Overwatch on a Game of the Year list. You don't need to hear me say nice things about it, you know. Odin Sphere Leaf Tracer. This one I was a little hesitant on because Odin Sphere was originally a PS2 game, but there weren't that many copies of it made. It was kind of a cult classic, hard to get a hold of, and it had a lot of issues, especially with frame rate and things like that. And Leaf Tracer does a lot of things different. Like, a whole core of like the game's mechanics with the way you do crafting and how some of the combat is executed and your leveling and all that is very different by default in Leaf Dressier. And the option to do it the old style is there, but they really revamped all of the core mechanics for this, made it look even nicer than it already did, just sharpened everything up essentially, fixed all of the frame rate issues, and it's just a really, really, really good action RPG. Gee, like everything on this list is an RPG pretty much. Who'd have thought, right? Um, if you never played the original, or if you did and you really liked it, like either way, if you're an action RPG fan, Leaf Crusader 100% worth a pickup. Super fun. I've only actually done one of the 4 main storylines, and that one storyline took me, I want to say, like 25 or 30 hours, and I didn't even 100% it. Like, I would have to go back and find more secret areas and do a lot more grinding to get properly leveled up and all that to even 100% the one storyline I've done, so there is a lot of content there. Kirby Planet Robobot. Kirby games are pretty much always amazing. And Robobot, I've been a fan of Kirby since I was a little kid. I've played most, not quite all, but most of the Kirby games that have been made. And Robobot gives Superstar some really solid contention for being potentially my favorite. I've kind of gone back and forth a bit on this. I don't actually know which of the two I prefer, but Robobot was just great. It takes everything that makes Kirby fun and it just amplifies it. Like, you know, you not only have new powers, but you have, which every new Kirby game pretty much has new powers and new moves added to old powers, but now you have the Robobot armor, which is basically a mech suit with Kirby's abilities. So you can find enemies and scan them, and then the mech suit will get giant laser swords or flamethrowers or spark things you can charge up to fire basically a Kamehameha beam. Like, it's just great. The boss fights were all really creative and fun. They nailed the aesthetic. The 3D was used very well, and it has one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a very long time. Just I 100%ed the game, and I loved every minute of it. If you've not played it, you should. If you like Kirby, it's just a through and through delight. Xenoverse 2, most of the same reasons that Graham said, added on the fact that I didn't quite have the opportunity to get into Xenoverse 1 as much as I wanted to, because I got it later after it had sort of died off a bit, and there wasn't, you know, there weren't a lot of people still playing it or anything like that, and I had it on PC rather than console. So in a way, Xenoverse 2 was also me experiencing Xenoverse properly for the first time. And most all of the issues that were present in 1, they fixed for 2, in my opinion. A lot of people don't feel the same, but I do. And Grim does. So, hey, whatever.
I also forgot to mention about the RNG, but...
Yeah, RNG is a lot better. Like, QQ bangs are the main source of RNG in this one, and it's not even that bad usually. So, yeah, like, if you... In the previous one, if you didn't... Like, you could meet all of the requirements for an ultimate finish, and the game would just decide not to give you an ultimate finish. And many of the best pieces of gear and moves and such could only be gotten from doing those. So you had to roll the dice on whether or not you would even get that finish after having met the requirements, then roll the dice on getting the gear. In this one, you get the requirements, you get the finish every time. And the RNG rolls are significantly nicer, so you're more likely to get the gear and moves that you want.
So that as well, there's also less items per mission, so you'll always at least get something from the mission. Unlike in the case of the other game where there was like 7 or 8 different like moves or costume pieces attached to it, and you could go between any of them.
Yes. So yeah, overall, lots of improvements. World of Final Fantasy. Take everything good that I said about Cyber Sleuth, replace replace it being like Shin Megami Tensei with it being like Pokemon and the Digimon with Final Fantasy monsters, and you have this game. And then let them stack up in adorable towers to get even more deadly. It's just it's wonderful. It's whimsical. I love it. It made me happier than almost any other game that came out last year did. Just playing it, I was just constantly in a good mood. I mean, the story is kind of meh. It's not amazing. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of other people assert because the game isn't really meant to be all that serious, and it doesn't really take itself that seriously. It's just having a good time as a big love letter to fans. You've got a bunch of characters from previous games, monsters from all throughout the series, all sorts of old music and stuff. It's just, excuse me. It's just a massive love letter to fans of the Final Fantasy series, and I thought they absolutely nailed it. It just made me unequivocally happy in a way that no other game last year did, really. Dishonored 2, again, Jim talked about it quite a bit. It was great. It's another case of all of the other sequels from last year where it did everything right about the first one but better. It's just, if you loved the first Dishonored, this is a straight upgrade in every way, essentially. That's all I really need to say about it. New Pokemon game. It's Pokemon, which usually you don't expect them to do anything significant, like to change it up and make it really different, but they did. Like, there's a whole lot about Sun and Moon that's very different from previous games. I mean, even the core gym trial mechanic has been shaken up and replaced with the trials that you have to like, you'll have different things between like trying to gather ingredients to make a meal to lure a Pokemon out, or the silly dancing one where you have to spot the differences, things like that. Like, just that was a lot of fun. I thought most of the new Pokemon were really, really cool. The story was probably the most serious and interesting in the entire series. The soundtrack was great. It's just, honestly, it's my favorite Pokemon game because they just did everything that was good but better. That, you know what? That's what 2016 was. 2016 was the year of that thing but better. Like, in my view, at least.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Final Fantasy 15, because it's me, and I've been waiting for this game for 10 years. And even though I've only got about 9 hours in it so far, I've also watched the anime and the movie, and I'm staring right at the collector's edition statue that came in it right now. And just like World of Final Fantasy, nothing it's done so far hasn't just straight made me happy. I mean, I think the way that I phrased it to Jim, like when I first started playing it, was as someone who has waited for the game for 10 years and saved up to buy the $300 collector's edition, even with only a few hours in and having watched those supplementary things, I have already felt like the money and the wait were worth it. Like, I know there are a lot of people who are upset about this game for various reasons. Of those that I know, most of them that I've experienced, like the combat and the mini games and the interactions between the bros and the open world, I don't agree with. I think they're great. I pretty much everything that this game has done so far, it has done in exactly the way I was hoping they would do it. I've just been happy the whole time I've played it. I know people are iffy about the story later on. Some of them are iffy about the story later on. I haven't gotten there yet. Maybe it'll change my mind some, but as of right now, it's everything I wanted the game to be. That's just it, plain and simple. So, yeah. Like I said, if I had had the chance to play more things, you might have heard more about. Well, Grand Kingdom should be on the list, but I didn't think about it until just now. Grand Kingdom's really cool. But you probably would have heard more about some of the other things, like Doom, for example, or Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Sharp FE, things like that. But I just didn't have the time to play a lot of the things that I picked up. Like I said, even several of the things on here I've only barely played or I've only half played. So, of what I have, these were my favorites. And why? And now I shall shut up.
And I have to turn my game off. Have we lost Jim?
Kind of sounds that way.
Yeah, he's gone. We're alone now.
Yes, we're all alone.
I knew it.
Oh my god!
I had a phone call in the middle of the podcast. So I muted my mic.
I was actually afraid that one of two things would cause me to get a phone call while we were going, and I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yep. My roommate's at PAX South right now, so she was just calling to let me know she made it okay. Everything's fine. I'm like, okay, that's good.
Nice. That is good.
Yep. I was actually listening to the podcast the entire time. I'm just like, okay. I'm like, oh, I better mute my mic. And I'm like, hey, I'm doing the podcast. She's like, okay. I made it safe. I'm like, okay, bye. And then I forgot to unmute my mic. So I've been
Very nice.
I've been talking, just commenting, and I guess it didn't come through. So I'm a professional.
I was supposed to say something after you finished, and then I forgot.
Yep.
So that's the thing.
So, well, God, 2016 was a really good year for games.
And absolutely nothing. Okay, games and movies and nothing else.
Yep. I'm just going to pretend the rest of everything didn't happen. My life is only video games now. Video games and anime.
What do you mean now?
There was a brief period wherever I looked outside my box, and then I got very scared because everyone was dying constantly. So,
Yeah. People were either dying or making literally the worst decision they could.
Yep.
So
God, we lost so many cool people. I mean, David Bowie and Gene Wilder, just right off the top of my head. That's so sad.
It is.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking up this anime. I don't know how to pronounce it. Durara Meru.
Oh, Durarara?
No, it's a moe anime.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say Durarara is one of my buddies, like one of his favorites. I've not watched it yet, and he's constantly telling me to.
Oh, I remember now. The thing I was supposed to talk about after the thing ended, after we finished, the grand finals I was talking about during the BlazBlue section was the EVO 2014 grand finals, which was Guerrero versus Dogura, Lychee versus Azrael. That was a fantastic one.
Oh, that's the one you're talking about. Oh my god, yes, that was amazing.
Yes. I watched that live and I was like, yeah, all the way through.
Oh my god, yes, that was some of the coolest fighting gameplay ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
easily one of the top moments.
Unequivocally impressive.
Yeah, easily one of the top moments of EVO 2013. Easily
one of the top moments of EVO ever.
Yeah. God damn.
Yep.
It was just insane and beautiful.
I would send it to Jim, but he probably won't watch it.
I mean, yeah. I can't lie.
I'm sure you could if you wanted to.
No,
but he won't, and we should be happy for that.
Okay. Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'm not happy.
I watched your game. It was
seriously though, like you should absolutely watch it. It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even like it really takes that long either.
Oh no, it's 30. Apparently, like the first video I saw, it was 30 minutes long.
Yeah, like it's really, and that has like between time as they're going from one match to the next and all that. So you can easily cut some time out.
Actually, the one I'm looking at that's 30 minutes long starts like somewhere through it, I think.
Oh.
Like it's 30 minutes after start like going past the start point.
Regardless, you should watch it.
God, I have to watch this stupid anime.
Yeah, you should, what else do you have to watch?
No, it's a really okay. No, I'm not even gonna go into why I'm gonna watch this anime. I'll tweet about it so anyone who knows my Twitter can find out.
Oh, I can't imagine why you would want to.
It's a single image and it's very depressing. I'm like, oh, I actually have hit rock bottom. I literally am just a fucking like stereotypical otaku neat like basement dweller. That's what I've become. So what's going on?
Oh, I am bopping cactuars with a giant inflatable mallet.
Oh, good.
Combat. Like it's like a whack-a-mole thing, but it's whack-a-cactuar, and it's an honest to goodness fight. Like there are other monsters in the arena. Oh, a gigantuar! Yes, that's awesome. And you just have a giant inflatable mallet to chase them around with, and it's hilarious. No, get back here! Dang it.
So,
oh boy, you know what just started working?
Terraria?
Guilty Gear.
Very nice.
Ah, boy. Yeah, we're just talking about random stuff now.
yeah, pretty much. God, I don't even remember.
This is the point where we should cut it off.
Yeah,
we should.
So if you need to email us, thejagkast with a K at gmail.com. There's a blog. Our friend's website is 336gamereviews.com. He and our other friend that he does the game review stuff with have an anime site which they update less frequently called weebsweekly.com. There's Twitter stuff, which you've heard 1,000 times. And we have a YouTube channel, which is where you're watching this. Thank you.
Yep. I guess I should announce on the podcast that I killed Podbean. I killed it during the podcast, actually. Like, looking at the views, the most views we ever got was, like, I think whenever I post on Game FAQs, and that's just people going like, oh, what's this? Click. Oh, okay, because I listened for about, like, 20, 30 seconds. And I'm like, well, let's just translate that to YouTube views. So,
yeah.
Oh.
If you are actively if you're that one listener who actively listened to our Podbean, we are very sorry.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But that very sentence explains exactly why we did what we did. Well, what Jim did, what he did, because, you know, it was Jim who did it.
Yep. I'm destroyer of all things good.
Pretty much.
All right, yeah. I'm going to end this podcast before we go off the rails. I start talking about hentai. So
yeah, that'd be a good time to end it.
Well, I can't find the hangout. Yep. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Oh God. Podcast over before I get sentimental now.